I'm joined here at Connected North by Lee Hargadon from Nokia, who's just come straight from the plenary stage where he's been talking about the importance of digital transformation in terms of developing innovation. So perhaps Lee, you could tell us a little bit about some of the things you were talking about on stage just a minute ago.
Yeah, sure, James. Thank you. Yeah, some of the topics that arose were really around how we can use technology to drive innovation, particularly here in the north. We're connected north, of course, and we were thinking about some of the industries that are, I guess, physical by nature. So my point was around the fact that lots of digital ICT investment over the last 15 to 20 years has actually gone into industries which are, I guess, non-physical by nature. So particularly banking, finance, those kind of service industries that have been web-enabled, have been cloudified for many years now. We don't necessarily see the same in more physical industries. So manufacturing is, I guess, the obvious place to start. So manufacturing is obviously a physical industry, but we also have transportation, healthcare and education as well. They're all physical industries, all maybe lagging behind in terms of ICT investment. So those non-physical industries over the last 15 to 20 years have seen perhaps 70% of ICT investment compared to 30% for physical. And now what we're seeing over the next 10 years, forecast of 65% of investment is due to be in physical industries, with 35% in those non-physical industries. They've already been digitised.
And I think we know that the role of private mobile networks is going to be huge in those physical industries, but presumably there's other work that goes on as well as that.
Yes, well I think first of all we need the connectivity to be able to connect up mobile private networks, but you're absolutely right. They are, I guess, one of a suite of technologies. We call them 5G enabled technologies. So mobile private networks are certainly one element, but you've also got AR, virtual reality, AI, cloud, edge computing as well. And all of these different components need to come together to enable organisations to digitise. But what they do need is connectivity, and that is where the private networks come in. Obviously, there's a lot of talk in the industry about 5G and private 5G, but it doesn't have to be 5G. Actually, many use cases can be developed and delivered using 4G technology, which could be private spectrum. An organisation has gone to license itself through Ofcom, or it could be public spectrum working in conjunction with a carrier service provider. So yes, mobile private networks are absolutely a key to enable some of that digitisation, because what they do is allow the data, first of all, to be gleaned at a granular level, picked up at a local level as well, and then data crunched using edge computing, and then the output of that data can either be actioned in real time, or perhaps it could be used over a longer time to enable particularly manufacturers to think about how they can optimise and increase efficiency over their production line, over their operations, over their supply chain.
Yeah, very interesting. So you also mentioned a few examples of things that you're currently working on during the session. I wonder if it's possible you give us a bit more information about some of those if you can.
Yeah, sure. So we're working, first of all, in academia. Academia's been really keen to be able to take private networks, understand exactly how they fit together and what some of the use cases could be. In particular, we've seen organisations that I guess represent industries, for example, manufacturing. So the Advanced Manufacturing Research Centre, we're working in conjunction with them. They're working with a number of other parties as well, and they're helping their members think about how they can use technologies to be able to optimise their operations and drive further future efficiencies. Outside of academia and outside of those membership organisations, we're working in utilities, for example. So there's a huge move towards renewables. So renewables in terms of wind farms out in the North Sea, they need connectivity. We need to understand how the wind farm is performing, and need to understand any kind of maintenance requirements, predictive maintenance. So they're all connected, and we can use private 5G or 4G for that reason as well. Also in the renewable space, what we're doing is looking at how we can enable micro solar plants to securely connect into the national grid as well. It's not just a matter of getting the energy in, but also the communication protection that is needed from a cybersecurity standpoint to make sure that that input can come in safely into the national infrastructure. And then maybe a manufacturing example as well, which is related to supply chain. Most manufacturers absolutely need, just-in-time logistics. So we're working with organisations that can use 5G to control and automate the teleoperation of 40-ton trucks. And these 40-ton trucks are taking materials, they're taking parts, just that last mile at the right time, around the clock, to ensure that the manufacturer gets what they need when they need it.
And these are sort of taking place in the north of England, and I know you've not travelled particularly far to get to this event today. You must be pleased that we're having these conversations away from London and the South East.
It's brilliant, one, because the commute was a lot shorter, so less than an hour for me across the Pennines. I'm based in Leeds, and genuinely it is really, really good. First of all, to see northern contingent, so many friendly faces and contacts, but secondly, for an event like this to be occurring in the north, and we are focused on the investment that's needed, focused on the use cases, and focused on the organisations that are making it happen. So yeah, really, really good to see.
Well, it's great to see you here, and thanks for taking the time to talk to us today.
Thanks, James.